That one glorious word represents more than just the geography between the Sabine and the Rio Grande. It represents a unique idea and way of life. A life of rugged individualism, proud self-reliance, gritty toughness, and fierce independence. That is what made Texas, and that is what will save her again. Howdy, folks. Sam Houston here. I want to thank you for tuning into the Feed Bandit podcast. Feed Bandit is the Texas first outdoors brand built by rabid Texans, for rabid Texans, and all those who aim to be one someday. We unapologetically promote the ideals that shape our Texas pride and Texas first patriotism through our love of hunting, the outdoors, and the gear and apparel we create. Texas, above all else, preserve the tradition, protect the legacy. Check us out at feedbandit.com. And to repeat that great rallying cry from a former colleague of mine, liberty or death. Now, enough of my talking. Here are a couple of bandits that love Texas as much as I do. Enjoy.
Howdy, friend. Welcome back to the Feed Bandit podcast. Jimmy back with you. And on this one, you're going to hear a recap from the recent hunting trip I took with my son Jeb down to our family ranch. And we tried to recap what happened after each hunt, so that we'd remember the details, soon after. So hopefully it'll be something of interest to you. You can kind of hear a play-by-play of what we did on this 3-day hunt. It was really fun. I had a great time hanging out with my son, taking him out there, exposing him to the hunting and the ranch and all that. He's been out there before. He goes out with me a lot, but it's always great every time to get him back out there to keep his interest up. That's one of the things we really promote here at the Feed Bandit podcast. So, taking the young kids out as much as you possibly can to give them that exposure. So as you know, as I've mentioned on this podcast, turkey hunting is my favorite hunting. So I especially wanted to get him exposed to that. So hopefully one day he can go out there on his own or go with me and beg me to go, and I have no excuse but to take him. We got full camoed up in our ghillie suits and everything, and sat out there in the field with some decoys and called using I got a slate call that I use and a box call. So we were using both of those, trying to get the turkeys to come in, and it was really fun just sitting out there exposed like that. You try to hide under a tree and things of that nature, but it's my favorite to do it in full camo. But before we jump into that, we got a little Texas history to go over. And when this episode is coming out, it'll be a few days after one of the most seminal events in the history of Texas. Perhaps the most seminal event in the history of Texas was the Battle of San Jacinto. Now, if you'd listened to the podcast prior to this one, our own General Sam gave his San Jacinto Day address. Hope you enjoyed that. But I just want to go through a little quick, high-level summary overview of the historical things that actually happened leading up to and around that day. So the Battle of San Jacinto was the concluding military event of the Texas Revolution. On March 13th, 1836, the Revolutionary Army at Gonzales began to retreat eastward. It crossed the Colorado River on March 17th, encamped near present Columbus on March 20th, recruiting reinforcements having increased its size to 1,200 men. Sam Houston's scouts reported Mexican troops west of the Colorado to number 1,325. On March 25th, the Texans learned of James W. Fannon's defeat at Goliad, and many of his men left the army to join their families on the runaway scrape. Sam Houston led his troops to San Felipe de Austin by March 28th, and by March 30th to the Jared E. Gruchy plantation on the Brazos River, where they camped and drilled for a fortnight. Ad interim President David G. Burnett ordered Houston to stop his retreat. Secretary of War Thomas J. Rusk urged him to take a more decisive course. Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna decided to take possession of the Texas coast and seaports. With that objective in view, he crossed the Brazos River at present-day Richmond on April 11th, and on April 15th, with some 700 men, arrived at Harrisburg. He burned Harrisburg and started in pursuit of the Texas government at New Washington, or Morgan's Point, where he arrived on April 19th to find that the government had fled to Galveston. The Mexican general then set out for Anahuac by way of Lynchburg. Meanwhile, the Texans, on April 11th, received the Twin Sisters, and with the cannon as extra fortification, crossed the Brazos River on the Yellowstone, and on April 16th reached Spring Creek in present-day Harris County. On April 17th, to the gratification of his men, Houston took the road to Harrisburg instead of the road to Louisiana, and on April 18th reached White Oak Bayou, at a site within the present-day city limits of Houston. There he learned that Santa Anna had gone down the west side of the bayou, and on the San Jacinto River, crossing by a bridge over Vince's Bayou. The Mexicans would have to cross the same bridge to return. Viewing this strategic situation on the morning of April 19th, Houston told his troops that it looked as if they would soon get action, and admonished them to remember the massacres at San Antonio and at Goliad. On the evening of April 19th, his forces crossed Buffalo Bayou to the west side 2.5 miles below Harrisburg. Some 248 men, mostly sick and ineffective, were left with the baggage at the camp opposite Harrisburg. The march was continued until midnight. At dawn on April 20th, the Texans resumed their trek down the bayou, and at Lynch's Ferry, captured a boat laden with supplies for Santa Anna. They then drew back about a mile on the Harrisburg Road and encamped in a skirt of timber protected by a rising ground. That afternoon, Sidney Sherman, with a small detachment of cavalry, engaged the enemy infantry, almost bringing on a general action. In the clash, Olwyn's J. Trask was mortally wounded. One other Texan was wounded, and several horses were killed. Mirabeau B. Lamar, a private, so distinguished himself that on the next day he was placed in command of the cavalry. Santa Anna made camp under a high ground overlooking a marsh about 3/4 of a mile from the Texas camp, and threw up breastworks of trunks, baggage, paddle sacks, and other equipment. Both sides prepared for the conflict. On Thursday morning, April 21st, the Texans were eager to attack. About 9 o'clock, they learned that Martin Prefecto de Cos had crossed Vance's Bridge with about 540 troops, and had swelled the enemy forces to about 1,200. Houston ordered Erastus Deaf Smith to destroy the bridge and prevent further enemy reinforcements. The move would prevent the retreat of either the Texans or the Mexicans towards Harrisburg. Shortly before noon, Houston held a council of war with Edward Burleson, Sidney Sherman, Henry W. Millard, Alexander Somervell, Joseph L. Bennett, and Lysander Wells. Two of the officers suggested attacking the enemy in his position. The others favored waiting Santa Anna's attack. Houston withheld his own views at the council, but later, after having formed his plan of battle, had it approved by Rusk. Houston disposed his forces in battle order about 3:30 in the afternoon, while all was quiet on the Mexican side during the afternoon siesta. The Texans' movements were screened by trees and the rising ground, and evidently Santa Anna had no lookouts posted. The battle line was formed with Edward Burleson's regiment in the center, Sherman's on the left wing, the artillery under George W. Hockley on Burleson's right, the infantry under Henry Millard on the right of the artillery, and the cavalry under Lamar on the extreme right. The Twin Sisters were wheeled into position, and the whole line, led by Sherman's men, sprang forward on the run with the cry, "Remember the Alamo! Remember Goliad!" The battle lasted but 18 minutes. According to Houston's official report, the casualties were 630 Mexicans killed and 730 taken prisoner. Against this, only 9 of the 910 Texans were killed or mortally wounded, and 30 were wounded less seriously. Houston's ankle was shattered by a musket ball. The Texans captured a large supply of muskets, pistols, sabers, mules, horses, provisions, clothing, tent, and $12,000 in silver. Santa Anna disappeared during the battle, and search parties were sent out on the morning of the 22nd. The party consisted of James A. Sylvester, Washington H. Seacrest, Sion R. Bostic, and a Mr. Cole discovered Santa Anna hiding in the grass. He was dirty and wet and was dressed as a common soldier. The search party did not recognize him until he was addressed as El Presidente by other Mexican prisoners. One of the 8 inscriptions on the exterior base of the San Jacinto Monument reads, "Measured by its results, San Jacinto was one of the decisive battles of the world. The freedom of Texas from Mexico won here led to annexation and to the Mexican War, resulting in the acquisition by the United States of the states of Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, California, Utah, and parts of Colorado, Wyoming, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Almost 1/3 of the present area of the American nation, nearly a million square miles of territory, changed sovereignty." So there you have it. What a couple of days, quickly summarized there for you. No doubt, there are many other books, many other things you can watch that go into much greater detail on not just the Battle of San Jacinto, but the whole conflict. But yes, indeed, April 21st was one hell of a day for the state of Texas. And I gotta tell you, what's very sad nowadays is that it's not. No one even knows about it. No one even thinks about it. Like, I didn't hear any kind of Happy San Jacinto Day said today or anything like that. Pretty sure no one. I mean, if you were to poll all the people you know, maybe 1% of them would actually know what happened on April 21st in 1836. And this is talking about people in Texas, which is very sad. People here should know and remember, and I'm absolutely amazed and beside myself that even with our Texas history curriculum in school, people don't remember that here. And the state doesn't push it as much as it should. It's very sad. The politicians and the people in control of the state have been totally co-opted and are under total control by the federal government and the large parties run out of Washington, D.C., which is sad. And this is another reason why Texas is being stripped of all of its greatness, because the people here put too much stock in the U.S. and the federal government out of Washington, D.C. This is why we must think locally, meaning think Texas, and act here, and only care about acting here. Take care of yourself first, then take care of your immediate family, and then think about, your city and your county. And that's really about as far as it should go beyond, care who you send to Austin. But those people that go to Austin should hear from you and know here that all they should care about is you here in Texas and what Texas does. And basically ignoring what the federal government does at this point. Because all it does is it's dragging us down into the abyss. So never forget this day. Never forget April 21st, 1836, a hell of a day for Texas. So with that, let's jump into the recap. All right, so it's about lunchtime after our first hunt here. We got up in the morning.
Really early.
When the sun came up. So we didn't get out there
we didn't get anything, but we
didn't get out there in time to watch them fly off the roost. But we did go out there, fairly early. And what did we do?
We saw some.
Well, what'd you wear?
I wore my ghillie suit, and so did Dad for his.
Yes, we both wore ghillie suits. I got Jeb one of his own. What do you think of them? They're pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great camo.
Mm-hmm.
And I like them because you can pretty much wear whatever you want under them. So if it's cold outside, you could wear, pants and a sweater or whatever with the top over it. Or if it's hot outside, which this afternoon's going to be, I'm just going to wear a t-shirt and shorts under mine so that it stays a little cool. But we're still totally camoed. So you wore your jeans and a sweater under yours this morning, right? Were you comfortable?
Yes, I was comfortable.
Speak up. Okay. So we did that. We drove out to...
I drived.
Well, hold on. We drove out to the first spot set up. This is at the biggest pond on our property here. And there was a blind and feeder there. So the animals kind of used to go into that area.
And after that,
hold on.
We hiked up a mountain. We hiked up...
Hold on. First, let's talk about like where we were this first time. We chose that because, one, there was water there. Two, because of the blind and feeder. So ideally, we thought, so animals would be familiar with the area. And three, it's closer to older growth trees, so maybe it's more close to the roost for some turkeys. So we got there and put the decoys out and sat down and called.
Didn't get anything, though.
And called.
Didn't get anything.
And called.
I didn't
Didn't
see
hear anything or see anything.
I did see one.
Well, hold on, but not the second. So the first time we didn't see anything. We saw vultures circling us. I think they might have thought we were dying. But other than that, we didn't really see anything. But it was a nice morning to sit out there and listen to all the birds. And the wind, there's a nice breeze going through here. Of course, being in West Texas, what a surprise. But it was nice. It wasn't too bad. And so you got a little restless. You wanted to move on to the next spot, right?
Uh-huh.
And it was probably a good choice because when we were driving to the next spot to go set up, what did we see further out in the field?
We saw like a dozen of turkeys.
Yeah, a bunch of turkeys out there.
So we backed up, and then we set up, and then we went to hike.
Yeah, so we backed up, and we found a spot along the road that leads into that field. Mm-hmm. And we set up there. Found a great spot for hiding. Mm-hmm. And called and called and called. And you saw one.
I did see one in the trees.
In the tree, yeah, further back in the trees coming in. But I don't know, it just didn't get comfortable enough, I guess, for whatever reason. We sat there a while, hoping some of those would come in, and they just never came in.
They went to the right of the field, and we couldn't see them.
Yeah, they didn't loop around. I don't know, maybe they were henned up. They just didn't want to break loose and try to find another hen. I'm not sure. But we're going to go back to that spot tonight.
And we're gonna sit in the field next to
we're gonna sit in that
trees.
Spot and sit by the trees. So we're sitting there right towards the end. We're ready to kind of move on. And what drives up? The guy feeding the cattle.
The guy who feeds the cattle, and then he scares all the turkey.
So that was kind of a
bust.
Yeah, it was kind of a bust, but they weren't really in yet anyway. So we don't know whether they really scared them off, but that was kind of a good time for us to get up and regroup, come back to the house, do a little work, and we're gonna probably shoot some guns. And then go back out tonight to that same spot and see what happens. So
yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
And we also hiked up a mountain in our property, and we have a big view of you can see it over 1,000 miles.
A mountain being a small slope.
Yeah.
But a pretty good view at the top for sure.
You can see over 1,000 miles.
Well, we'll get back here and give them a recap of what happens tonight. Sound good?
Okay.
All right, cool. All right, we got back from the evening hunt, and, well, we tried. It was really hot.
Really hot.
It was 90.
I was begging my dad to go back to the house.
Yeah, it was 92 degrees. The sun was on us. Pretty dang hot.
I was sweating so much.
Yeah, and tomorrow supposed to be cooler.
Yeah.
Per the weather app.
And we're going to the same place that we did today.
We're going to go back to the meadow tomorrow where we saw the turkey in the morning.
Yeah, but it's going to be colder.
It'll be colder. Hopefully we'll get a little more success tomorrow. We didn't shoot one, obviously. But it was fun to sit there for a little bit, right?
Yeah, but
what we decided to do was drive around.
Uh-huh.
see what we could see.
That was fun. And then he bring his gun.
We were, we took the AR. Maybe we would have seen another animal running around as we're going. Up to that point, though, all we had seen is giant rabbits.
Yeah, with long necks.
Well, rabbits with long necks, as Jeb says. Pretty cool, but didn't see a turkey. Didn't even hear a turkey. Have yet to hear any kind of...
yes, we did see a turkey.
Oh, we did, but we've yet to hear any gobble or anything.
No, not gobble or anything.
And as we're driving around, we finally saw some deer.
We saw deer jumping over
the fence into the property. 5 of them. So that was cool. Had a good time, though.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we explored, drove through the property, just drove around. That was really fun, huh?
It was fun.
Yeah, so we're going to...
And we explored more.
We explored a lot. That was fun.
He loves exploring.
I love exploring. I live for exploring. Well, so do you. You like exploring, right?
Yeah, I do.
You saw some parts of the property that maybe... Well, you might have saw a couple of years ago, but you don't remember, so they're still kind of new. That was fun, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And, so we're back at the house now watching, what is this called? The River Monsters?
Yep.
Something like that. And they just pulled out this gigantic catfish that's yellow and big whiskers.
It's at least like 9 feet long.
Oh, my God, it's huge. They got to be in Africa. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
they're in Brazil.
Oh, okay, yeah, South America. Oh, and the Amazon.
Yeah, they're in the Amazon.
But they're going after electric eel.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see.
Who killed 3 cowboys?
Yeah, nuts. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to get up tomorrow morning.
And go hunting again.
We're going to go hunting again. We're going to try to get a turkey. And if we're not successful tomorrow morning,
then we'll do it.
I think what we're going to do tomorrow night is maybe sit in a deer blind and go predator hunting. Try to get a coyote or a bobcat or something like that. I
want to get a hog.
Or a hog. But out here, there's so many predators. So hopefully we'll be able to report on, some sort of success tomorrow. Did you have fun today, though?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I did have fun.
What'd you take out of today? Like, what was your... Tell me about it. What'd you think?
I think it was
Speak
fun.
Up. Yeah? Speak louder so they can hear you.
Yeah, I just had a great time.
Yeah.
I don't know how to express... I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, this is what it's all about. Getting us out in the field, trying, seeing what we can see.
Mm-hmm.
It's much better than sitting in the classroom all day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Much better.
Much better. So here we go. We're gonna try again tomorrow. Try again tomorrow morning and see what we can do. Hopefully
we get something.
Yeah. Hopefully the turkey gods will smile on us. We'll just have to see.
Yeah.
So wish us luck.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, this is the next morning. We just got back in from turkey hunting.
Uh-huh.
So what happened?
We called. Didn't see anything. I did hear a gobble though.
Yeah, you heard a gobble in the distance. We couldn't call it in, unfortunately. We sat for a long time.
Uh-huh.
We never saw anything.
No, nothing.
Nothing. Except for that one gobble in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
We heard a lot of birds. That was cool.
Yeah, a lot of birds. A dove flew right above us.
Yeah. There were a ton of dove flying by. And they're huge. Huge dove.
One's like 5 feet long.
Yeah, right. But it was big. And then, let's see, what else? It was a nice overcast morning with a breeze, so it wasn't too hot. So it was just a really nice sit. Mm-hmm. Very comfortable. Perfect temperature. No turkey. They just didn't want to come out.
Yeah, they don't want to get killed.
We didn't even see a deer or anything walk through the meadow. We sat at the meadow.
Yeah, 2 times.
And,
second time to third time.
Didn't see that. So I don't know. I guess what we're going to try to do then...
We're going to hunt
maybe
predators.
Either predator or
turkey
hunt, but out of a blind probably tonight.
Yeah.
One of the two. Or we may just sit in the Polaris
And just drive around.
And either drive around
Or bring his
or park
gun.
at the top of that hill.
Or bring a gun.
Yeah, and park at the top of the hill behind, next to a tree, kind of hidden, and do some predator calling or something. See if we can get a coyote. We saw a lot of fresh coyote scat poop out there.
Yeah.
So, and we heard them. Remember,
Yeah.
they were calling in the distance. So we know they're out there. So we'll see.
Yeah, let's see.
Stay tuned. Okay, let's talk about our last hunt of the trip.
Yeah, we're already back home though.
Well, we are. We forgot to, or we didn't have a chance to record right after the trip. Because why?
Because we had to go to church.
What? Well, no. I mean, when we came back in from the last hunt.
Oh, because of my soccer game.
Well, you're jumping ahead.
And because of the opera that's going to.
Okay, so we had to come back on a Saturday, and we were able to hunt the Friday night. So that's when we hunted. And let's see, what did we do? We decided this time not to get all full camoed and sit out like we had been, but we decided to sit in a deer blind.
Yep.
A pretty productive deer blind during deer season. It sits right on the hill next to a pond.
Like it's called the back pond.
Yeah, the back pond. And typically see stuff there. I've shot several coyotes there over the years.
Yeah.
A lot of deer get shot there.
What if one blew his head off?
What? Yeah. So that was I blew the jaw off that one. I was going for a headshot.
Like the whole thing right there.
So half its face, yeah. He died instantly, though. Don't worry. I like the headshots. I got one right in the temple there, too, which was fun.
Yeah,
but anyway,
right there.
So we get there, and we set up we put some turkey decoys out, just to see if we can call in some turkey. So we at least see some turkey. And about the first... Oh, I also decided to take my Bluetooth speaker. So that we could play around with some calls if we wanted to later on. So I set it, outside the blind, and we're sitting
like this harassing rabbit.
Well,
it sounded like it was like a zombie.
So about a minute into sitting, we heard a ton of coyotes starting to sing in the distance and whatnot. So we thought, well, maybe we won't go. Maybe we won't go after turkey. Let's try to call in those coyotes that we just heard. So I started using the calls that on this app that I bought or that I had on my phone, and boy, that was really fun.
Yeah, like the harassing rabbit from the zombie.
The zombie, yeah.
It scared him.
One of them sounded like a zombie rabbit.
Like.
Of course, it was a distressed rabbit, so we used that a lot.
2 times.
Yeah, and we heard, still heard coyotes here and there in the distance, but I don't know if maybe it was a matter of the wind. Like there was a lot of wind on Friday night. It was overcast. Weather was moving in. And
it was kind of good though. We left Saturday because on Sunday it was gonna be bad weather. Like it said there's gonna be like a little of a rainstorm, really cloudy, and a lot of wind.
Yeah, so we left Saturday, and the report I got from the folks who stayed said they didn't see anything either. So we didn't end up missing anything that night. So we sat out there and called for hours, and still nothing came in. Yeah, only thing we saw was a roadrunner.
Yeah, it was actually. You should have shot at it.
No, you can't. No. So yeah, that was really all. That's all we saw. Unfortunately, didn't get it. Oh, well, I take that back. When we were done, we went back to the house and picked up one of my cousins, and we were driving around. Remember those pigs we saw running across the road?
Oh yeah, we saw like one at least
oh my god, well,
like 5 pounds of meat inside.
Oh, more than that. They're huge, right?
They're like giant hogs.
They might have been the biggest hogs I've ever seen on the hoof in my hunting career, and they ran across the road. It was everything from. I mean, at first you might have thought that they were cows. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, they're so big. They're
these are those
baby calves.
Yeah, these are those West Texas hogs, and I mean they were everything from little tiny babies were running all the way up size-wise to probably like literally 3 of them that looked like calves. I mean, they were huge.
Yeah.
I mean, really fat
one was
calves.
like 10 pounds of meat or something.
Oh, more. I mean, hundreds of pounds.
And I saw one of the fangs were like about that long.
Yeah, they're pretty crazy. Too bad they went quickly, immediately into the bush, and we didn't have a gun. We were just driving around, listening to music and talking and stuff. So, but at least we saw those. Well, at least we know those were
imagine
there.
if we shot one of the big ones.
Oh, that'd been cool.
Yeah. We would count that as a turkey.
Well, at least we would count it as a kill.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was our Friday night, our last hunt. Unfortunately, we did not harvest a turkey.
No.
But we had a great time.
Yeah, we had a great time.
You had a great time?
Yeah.
You go back and go with me again?
No.
Oh,
I'm
stop.
kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it was a blast. I loved going out there with you, Bub. It was really fun. I'm glad you enjoy it.
Yeah, I do enjoy it.
I mean, we took your guns.
Not.
We took guns out there, and you shot some guns as well, right?
Yeah.
You got a 410, single shot 410 for for Christmas this year
from my
grandfather. And then you already had a 22 rifle
from
and
you.
a 22 revolver.
Yeah, I have 2 pistols,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. Well, that one. The other one's not. This is mine.
Why do you have 2 pistols?
Well, why not? Anyway, we shot those. That was fun, and he did great. He just need a little more practice. You'll get, and your arms need to grow a little more to control that 410 shotgun.
Yeah, but I hit the can first try.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you did great. So yeah, I mean, overall, it was really fun. Went out there, saw some family. That was great, and just had fun farting around. You weren't in school, although I consider this to be just as, if not more important, schooling. So that was good. And yeah, anything else you want to say about the trip? Oh, we did. We can put this on the podcast. One Friday night, one of my cousin's dog got bit by a rattlesnake.
Oh yeah.
Bit
by a rattlesnake.
Yeah, in the backyard of the house.
And then they had to ride like two hours out. Like they just got there the night, that night, and they had to drive all the way back 2 hours.
Well, about an hour to.
And then whenever they got back, it was the next day.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah,
that was pretty crazy. It was about a 3-foot rattler. It got shot.
Whenever I was asleep, Dad told me that they went out there and shot it.
Yep, we shot it. So
probably because it deserved that.
Had to dispatch that little SOB.
It probably deserved that.
But the dog is okay.
Yeah.
They gave it a lot of the anti-venom and all that stuff.
They didn't give him a shot yet.
Yeah, they did. They ended up. They ended up doing it at the animal hospital.
No, they never did.
Yeah, they did.
No, whenever we went to...
He texted me telling me they did.
I know they... No. But he said to me that they never did the shot.
Oh, no. They didn't give the vaccine, like the preventative shot.
What does that mean?
The one that you do ahead of time in hopes of preventing bad stuff from happening. Yeah. But anyway, that happened. The dog's all right. But yeah, whoa, man. It's a long drive to the nearest animal hospital at night from where our family place is. So
yeah, 2 hours.
Anyway, a little excitement, if you will. That could have been a bummer, but everything worked out. And let me tell you, when you're out there, especially West Texas, especially in the rattlesnake roundup zone, which is where our place is, you got to be watching the ground, looking at where you step.
Yeah, that's what
all
happens
the
if you
time.
don't look. That's what happens if you don't look.
All the time. So just be aware, especially in the spring right now when the temperatures are perfect. The snakes want to be out there because it's not too hot, not too cold. So you got to be aware. Be aware of your feet. Be aware of your surroundings. Of your surroundings. That's right. But yeah, with that, what a great father-son weekend, if you will. We had a great time. Looking forward to doing it again. Oh, you know what I'll put on here too? What else did you learn to do this weekend?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Drive a Jeep without Dad.
Yeah, you used to driving the Polaris, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. That's fun. So now I have a driver, which is great. Anyway, thanks, Bud, for going with me. Can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, me too.
Awesome. All right, folks.
To the end of the podcast.
This is the end of the
And
podcast.
you better leave.
No, they better come back.
No.
Yeah, listen to the next one.
No. You better not come back.
Well, I say thank you for listening, everyone out there. Really appreciate it. We always say, support your local feed store.
Yeah.
Support Texas. And what are you going to say?
Everything around you. Except for rattlesnakes.
Yeah, more or less. But not, yeah. All right. We're rambling now. They don't want to keep hearing us talk.
Yeah, bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Well, I hope the Bandits gave you an interesting episode that either entertained or educated you. Or better yet, both. Hell, I told them this podcasting thing looks harder to do than defeating Santa Anna. So if you would, please help them out by sharing it with all your like-minded friends to help the Bandits get the word out. And don't forget to check us out at feedbandit.com and grab some gear and apparel to support the cause of Texas. Remember, Texas, above all else, preserve the tradition, protect the legacy. Finally, as I said some time ago on the eve of the great battle, and I vigorously repeat here again, be men, be free men, that your children may bless their father's name. Well, fellow bandit, until next time.